Hello, I guess we're doing this in the middle of a parking lot in a borrowed car because we gotta do what we gotta do and we gotta make lemonade. We gotta make lemonade out of the lemons that we get. So I made notes on the lessons that have come from taking care of a sick person. So if you wanna hear my perspective on that, stick around. I got the courage to even talk about all this because a few of you, when I say few, I think I mean 7 to 10 people reached out to me, asked me how I am doing. Obviously how my mother is doing because she is the one recovering from cancer, but how I am doing in this situation. And that sort of made me want to talk about this because I know at least 7 people will be interested in knowing my perspective about all this. I cannot name all 7 because I wanted to address that they have given me the courage without knowing to talk about this. Let's call them stars because we're all made of stardust. And yes, I thought about it and I'm a romantic like that. And I did not want to call this podcast because it hasn't been consistent and I don't like personally inconsistent podcasts. So we're not calling it a podcast. We are calling it a star log or a star archive. AR already, star archive, if you will. So let's begin because I don't have much time. I have to run and take care of my mother. I just have to be present there physically, but I need to be there physically. You get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, the first thing that I want to talk about is the reality check is real, my star. Because not only life shifts instantly, like one day everybody in the family has their own life, has their own thing going on, and the next moment you have a sick member of the family and you don't know how things are going to turn out, and everybody wants to drop everything and just run and make things better. But does life work that way? No. The reality check about your so-called family members, people who you rely on, or in my case whom my parents rely on, how self-centered, self-absorbed people are, because people are self-absorbed to the point that they think that because they took care, in my case, of my sick mother, I owe them something. I am thankful that they were there to lend a helping hand, as a support, but I will not bend over backwards because you chose to be there. You could have chosen to tap out of it like many others did, but you can't rub it in my face and tell me how you are better than other people because you did not tap out in that situation. So I'm already taking care of a sick person. I have an autoimmune disease, so I have like an Ayurvedic diet that I have to follow. So I'm already cooking for myself. I have to go cook for a sick patient. Do you expect me to cook a separate meal for you because you will not eat what is being cooked for the rest of the family? No. And all the attendants that come to so-called meet your sick parent, oh, don't even get me started on that. So I also want to say that we drop the ball on everything that is going in our life when we have a sick person. But this is me and this is very controversial and I don't think everybody agrees with this. But I feel that the amount of attention we give the person who is sick while they're sick, if we would have given half the attention to them when they were not sick, maybe they wouldn't have fallen this sick, or maybe we would have noticed their symptoms sooner. I feel that suppressed emotions somehow show up in your body somewhere as a physical ailment. I support that thought process, at least in my mother's case. This is her subconscious telling her to just push the brake on things and just rest because she's been forced to rest, which she hadn't always. It's an uncomfortable feeling for her, but then is it necessary? Yes. So had she paid attention to herself even as much as she pays to other people, maybe she wouldn't have gotten sick to the point that she did, or maybe she would have got it sooner. So yeah, that's point number 1. Point number 2, it's fearful. The entire experience induces fear. Then, I mean, there is no lying about that, right? It's expected to be fearful. But what we don't expect is that fear will be expressed differently in different people. And around me, there were people who wanted to blame other people, my mother, the situation, God, heavens, you name it, and they wanted to put the blame on somebody. Some people try to control her diet, control what the doctor says, control what she consumes, control the money, control the expenses, some people will pick up fights because they can't control her healing, her recovery, and they feel helpless. And because they feel helpless, they sort of end up picking up fights with anybody and everybody. They don't make sense in retrospect at all, but they will do that. Some people pray, some people get angry. Me personally, I overextend myself. And I realized this while I was doing it. I had to catch myself doing it in the middle of overextending myself. And you want to contribute, right? No matter how old you are, you're still their child. And you want to contribute to their life. You want to make her feel better. And does it help overextending yourself? No. Will it build resentment? Yes, because I'm human. Like, I will need rest. I wanted to like stay awake when she was awake. I want to stay awake when she was asleep because I was managing the household. So when do I sleep? When do I rest? When do I eat? When do I take care of my body? When do I exercise? When do I do things that I would usually do for myself? When do I do that? That is a good segue into point number 3. And the thing that was stopping me was guilt, because caregiver guilt is real. I had to work through this. Like, let's just say that I had to work through it. Because when you're caring for a sick person, even thinking about taking time for yourself feels criminal. You feel as if you're not a good daughter, you're a good person to just think that you need time for yourself just because you need time for yourself, not because you have a work commitment or you have a doctor's appointment to go to. No, because you need it. You need that space for your own mental well-being, because you don't want to pour from an empty cup. But even thinking or discussing about taking time for yourself, the guilt was so real. And it is easy for somebody to say, even me to say, that I need that time. But actually taking the time just to recuperate, just be with myself, be with my thoughts, took a while. Let's just say it took a while. Hence the delay here. The 4th point is more of a rant, because I think everybody around me becomes a doctor. Like, I understand that the thought behind it is very genuine. Like, 100 people will come and give you 1,000 suggestions. And because desperate means you are desperate, the patient is desperate to get better. You want to try everything so that the patient gets better, the recovery is faster, etc. And you end up trying different things. Do you think it's humanly possible to try different things at the same time and carry them out effortlessly? Does not happen. You end up doing nothing properly. No diet ends up being followed. No sleep routine, no schedule, no nothing is followed. It's a day-to-day thing. Like, there is some emergency that has come up with a disease as unpredictable as this, so you tend to that. There is no routine. You realize how human you are because you want to scroll away on Instagram, or you want to watch that movie, or you want to catch up on that podcast, or a person like me wants to catch up on the books that have been piling that I want to read and that I'm not reading, or talk to a friend who's going through a mental breakdown themselves. There are a lot of things that you want to do in the little time that you have, because you are wanting to follow the 1,000 things that those 100 people who came to visit the patient told you. But I think everybody, like, my lesson from all this was that you stay in your lane. Like, if you have a cycle, you stay in the bicycle lane, you stay in your lane. I think you need a little bit of mental clarity, and you need time to sit with yourself to realize, to even figure out what your lane is. Like, I wanted to, be my mother's nurse. I wanted to take care of her medicine. I wanted to take care of her diet. I wanted to take care of her sleep schedule. I wanted to be a daughter, a friend, a confidant. I wanted to be everything for her. But I realized that I couldn't, and it felt bad. But I also realized that if I decide that I will be responsible for the management of the house, because that is necessary if I'm going to be able to manage your health in any capacity, I will need to manage the house. And I'll be partially responsible for your diet. I will let somebody else take care of the bills, of the insurance, of whatever there is. I will not insert myself in situations where people haven't asked for my help, exclusively asked for my help. That felt a little bit odd in the beginning, but eventually I learned how to do it, and now I ace it, and I've been able to create time for myself. Hence the star guide. Yeah. So point number 5, which is also the last point, is sacrifice will look different on different people. So understand that my father is sacrificing by not staying here constantly with my mother and staying at a distance with her so that he can take care of the finances. Like, they have their own house in a different city altogether. So he's doing that. My brother is sacrificing because, I don't think many of you know, he's doing his master's and he was not allowed any sort of leave. So, and he wanted to be here for my mother. He's seen her twice, yes, for 2-3 days maximum. One was when she underwent her surgery, and the second was when he got like 2 days off. That's sacrifice, if you ask me, because he wants to be here. He constantly asks me how she's doing, how's her mental health and everything. He wants to be here. Who wouldn't? I'm sacrificing. Maybe I'm not taking care of my career as much as I wanted to. I'm not investing time in creating content, in doing everything creative that I want to. So she's sacrificing by surrendering, by allowing to not go all boss babe on us and following what the doctor has said and doing what is supposed to be done so that she can recover fast. So sacrifice looks different, but everybody is sacrificing in their own capacity, and we just need to learn how to appreciate the other person's sacrifice. in this situation, at least. So yeah, that was me and my lessons that have come from my mother's recovery journey, and I will hopefully catch you soon. Till then, love you to Titan and back.